are now entering a storybook world. Follow this path and it will lead you well. This phrase is displayed adjacent to a 25-foot mother goose that greets families as they enter Storybook Land, located just 10 miles outside of Atlantic City in Egg Harbor Township. It's safe to say that at least 3 generations of families have followed the instructions of Mother Goose and explored the little fantasy world that is now celebrating its 63rd year in business.
Storybook Land was founded in 1955 by John Chief Franco Sir and his wife Esther, both of Vineland, New Jersey. Storybook Land, to put it short, came from scratch. With the idea of creating a place just for children, Chief and Esther had the vision to create attractions that depict the familiar nursery rhymes and fairy tales that have, to this day, remained timeless, relevant even in today's world of Minecraft and SpongeBob. Chief and Esther worked together tirelessly, and Chief was creating things and dreaming up attractions until he passed at 87 in 2009. Esther is now 93 years old and is enjoying her semi-retirement. Chief, a Coast Guard veteran and a painter, and Esther, then a secretary on a chicken farm, purchased 5 acres of wooded land on Black Horse Pike, which was, at the time, the only direct route between Philadelphia and Atlantic City. Soon, after clearing the land, with only a few hand tools, a pickup truck, and a homemade crane made of telephone poles, a luncheonette appeared, then a picnic grove, then a playground, and then the first attraction, the Little Red Schoolhouse, which still stands today in its original location. John constructed a small building in the front that charged a 75-cent admission. Esther had bigger plans for the entrance gate, though, and the small gate was replaced by the famous Storybook Land Castle 3 years later. The idea came to Chief and Esther when they realized that, aside from Atlantic City, there was not much for families to do in the area, as they frequently looked for things to do with their own 2 kids, Joanne and John Jr. In the post-war era, the American economy soared, and automobiles were being manufactured more than ever. Americans were eager to jump in their new cars and see the country. As a result, many roadside parks and attractions were built to provide a place to eat lunch and break up the monumentous road trips. Storybook Land was one of the many, and one of the few, that is still going strong.
So, you're looking for troubles of the park? Well, we had a hard time getting everything set up. We set everything up in the dead of winter, so we, battled with elements and cold, frozen ground, and to get it open ready for the spring. But that was our biggest challenge right then and there, was getting everything ready to go for the spring to open when we first opened.
Constructing a theme park is certainly no easy feat, especially for Chief, who couldn't afford equipment or power tools at the time. More than once, he was pulled over and assigned traffic tickets for overloading his pickup truck while hauling gravel he used for the park's walkways. Chief's homemade crane consisted of an intricate system of poles, blocks, and pulleys set up in tree limbs with a rope being pulled by his truck on the ground. He even installed his own well for the park's water supply with a homemade tripod and ran an auxiliary belt driven off the truck's engine to run a makeshift pile driver. In the early 1960s, Chief created Storybook Land's first amusement ride, the Jolly Trolley, out of an old Fiat automobile with a hand-built trailer. About 10 years later, he replaced this with the Happy Train, a train made from a tractor that pulled 2 coaches. Both rides provided a tour of the naturally wooded park.
Other original attractions are the North Pole, which is an ice pole that stays cold even in the heat of summer, and boggles the mind of just about everyone who touches it. Then there's Alice in Wonderland's Tunnel, which is Storybook Land's most popular non-ride attraction. When children enter the tunnel, they literally slide into Wonderland and walk through the story. The walls of the tunnel, built in the early 1970s, are hand-painted with colorful murals of the scenes from the book, and ends with a life-size maze of playing cards. 3 bears, Little Red Riding Hood, and Snow White's house still stand today, and have been updated with animatronics, animated characters that narrate and move along with the song, and more of these type of attractions are planned for the future.
Today, the most popular of our rides, though, is a kid-friendly miler roller coaster named Bubbles the Coaster. The coaster train, in the shape of a friendly sea dragon, climbs a 15-foot hill before sending passengers through a sea of bubbles, hence the name, over hills and turns. Bubbles has been a family favorite since its opening in 2000 and is the first roller coaster for many children. We even sell My First Roller Coaster t-shirts in our gift shop to commemorate the event.
For all of these attractions, Esther took care of furnishing and decorating. She made curtains, tablecloths, and costumes for the animated characters. Cinderella's dress was always cleaned and pressed, and she dressed up as Mother Goose and greeted the children as they entered the park. Esther also was Storybook Land's first chef, cooking for all who entered, even passing truck drivers who stopped at Storybook Land for a hamburger. Whether it was cooking for her family at home or assembling her classic Humpty Dumpty sundaes for the children at Storybook Land, nobody left hungry when Esther was in the kitchen.
How's it like to work and be a part of this large park?
Well, working here is it's definitely interesting. It's unique. I've been working here for 6 years now. I'm a park trainer. You meet a lot of people, a lot of interesting people, both as customers and as other employees. The experience is unlike anything else. Working in a amusement park like this is, like I said, it's unique. There's not many family-owned amusement parks of this size anymore, so it's a community here. Everyone's a family. Management's wonderful to work for. It's just a lot of fun working here.
In your opinion, what is the reason that people keep coming back to Storybook Land?
I think it's the idea that behind Storybook Land is it's owned and operated by a family, and it's well taken care of and well maintained. You get that small park feel and that caring family feeling that you get when you walk in the park. You'll actually have the owner greet you at the entrance and also say goodbye at the end of the night. And I think that's special. There's not a lot of family-run parks these days, especially not in New Jersey. And it's nice to come here and in that atmosphere. It makes it so much fun.
Okay, next question is, what is your favorite attraction here and why?
I'm gonna have to say it's TikTok Drop. It's unpredictable, and the drop tower is it just makes me laugh. And everybody I take on it makes them laugh too. It's a really fun ride. I also like Bubbles the Coaster, of course, but I prefer TikTok Drop.
What's special about this park to you?
So I like the park because my family used to come here years ago with my family member. And it's just such a nice park. They're getting a lot of good rides, especially new spinning coaster over there. And it's just going to be a really great park. I love this place, and I'm coming back next year. So I think the best ride in the park is probably Bubbles the Coaster. It's a very fun E.F. Miller kiddie coaster, and you actually get airtime on it, which is pretty cool and unique for a kiddie coaster. But it was the first coaster, and then now they have a second one, which is made by SBF, which is really cool. Cinder Roller Coaster, I believe it's called.
What is the thing that keeps guests coming?
I think what keeps people coming back is that we're always adding new things. And the biggest comment we hear from our customers is that they were here as kids, and now they're bringing their kids, and now they're bringing their kids. So it's a tradition for a lot of families, and it's also it's a generational thing. People always come back with their family. And that's our biggest advertisement is word of mouth.
Today, the fun doesn't end with exploring these fairy tale dioramas. These attractions are now interspersed with exciting 16 family rides, like an Alan Herschel 1954 carousel. All of these attractions are impeccably clean and maintained by the park's well-educated and dedicated team of mechanics and maintenance workers. In the mid-1980s, the family purchased a 1964 C.P. Huntington train built by Chance Rides from nearby Smithville Village. John Jr. and the maintenance staff restored the train, and it was debuted in 1996, just after the park's 40th anniversary.
On another note, Storybook Land for 2019 will be adding 2 new rides, an unnamed flat ride from Zamperla and a new SBF Visa 3-loop spinning coaster.
Storybook Land has been able to provide guests with a feeling of stepping back in time, yet still providing the amenities and conveniences of the 21st century. Storybook Land is often complimented on the cleanliness, the safe atmosphere, and the excellent, caring staff, who are not just a group of people who happen to work at the same place, but a diverse family of 100, ranging in age from teenagers to retirees. All organisations are only as great as their team, and Storybook Land is very fortunate to have so many dedicated workers that are like family. The nation has seen many things through the past 60 years, but Storybook Land withstood the test of time and will continue to live on. Chief and Esther's perseverance, faith, and vision kept their dream alive, and Storybook Land is living proof that with a little faith, trust, and maybe a bit of pixie dust, dreams do in fact come true.